all day, friend.
Citizen. Name's Grufius. No idea. What? Oh, I think I have seen that plaque. Sorry I lied. Can't be too careful these days. Hidden to the caves behind the theater. Oh. You didn't get that from me. See you around.
I hope you're coping.
Don't you just love springtime?
Wow, isn't that a big long... Oh, you're here. I'm so... And, I can... How dare you? Oh, do us all a favour and drink hemlock. Just as... But it... Say it. Speak. Then... I thought I had... he could... and now... I love your clothes. Oh, do us all a favour and drink hemlock. Handsome. Oh, do us all a favour. You stay away from my money.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Darkus! Wow, isn't that... Oh, do us all a favour and drink... You stay away from my money!
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Oh. Alright, let... Yulia? Oh no. Poor Virgil. What? I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
Ah, you're here. And, I can... Coming on... Let's just... Not for a few weeks now. Last time I saw him, he was sitting at a table with... I remember, because they kept looking over their shoulder. The one word I kept hearing was... vanishing. And then, the next day, Kabash just...
melodies fetch again, with incessant labour. The one
Certainly.
they have lost.
For 10 denarii. Have you met Livia? Now, she just stands around, caked in filth, muttering nonsense to herself. It's a real shame. Now I hear that if Malleolus is elected, he's gonna throw a small festival to celebrate with... There used to be a midwife here, Naevia, but this place drove her mad as a Maenad. Said, fortunately for us, she locked herself in the palace. Sent him? How can we trust him to govern a city? I heard Dacius has been offering a lot of money for a bow. Of course, Sentius banned all weapons in the city, so I can't help... Have you seen the way Rufius walks around staring at all the statues? But then, why does he have a collection of them? I hear Galerius has a thing for Equitia, but of course she's a Vestal priestess. If she sleeps with... Why do silly boys always want what they can't have? I hear there are blasphemous cultists walking among us. You know, the ones that lit the fires last year. Some even say... Whatever you like. All right.
You're a good man, and I'll be sure to leave Virgil alone. I know I haven't been at my best.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway... Greetings, I'm Georgius. My friend, you're... Ah, I knew this day would come. I do not wish to lie to you, my friend. Please, let us leave the live coals safely beneath the ash. Very well, but the magistrate, for several months now, I have been sneaking out at night to worship the gods of my ancestors in the temple of Demeter. Each day, I leave offerings of food in the hope that we may have a bountiful... So I ask, stranger still. Once I sat in front of my shop like the 100-eyed Argus until dawn to see if I could spot a thief going in. But do you know what? Nothing! Not when I told my friend Kabash of this at the time. It is the only Greek temple in the city. Head towards the baths, and it is the last building on your right. I do not think you should pursue this, my friend. It would break my heart to be responsible, but you do...
visitor. Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name? It is best you do not know my name, for merely to tell me what... Ah, Kabash, I know this man. I will tell you everything I know, but first, the one thing I long for above all else before I die, let us find out with this simple question. Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue? Wonderful. Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong? You are an overthinker too. We're the same then. It is probably why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the Golden Rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult. Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree? So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing? How can that be? Since they all have differences, it follows that in some cases they would offer different conclusions about what is right and wrong. If there is a correct moral code, then wouldn't it follow that only one can be the correct one? Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet? After hundreds of years, and as many great thinkers dedicating their lives to these questions, what hope do we have if our best and brightest haven't been able to answer them? My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong. If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all. I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions. You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story. I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night I found myself in a tavern, in an argument with a drunken mercenary. It became heated, he drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Charon. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny. They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto, but long before that, my generation was wiped out, turned to gold many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again. I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, some from malnutrition, other. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not. Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating... And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner. As you wish. Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You seek the plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription. It is a cursed object, and I would be happy to give it to you, if Kabash had not already taken. I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the Temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans. However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription. We had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail. There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. Ha! If I did. I enjoyed our chat, but please, keep my... Ah, you've returned.
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you? I am Kabash. And let me guess, another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors, To what end? That is welcome news. You really are not. I was planning to return it myself, but for now, here, take it, and... Now, as for the other plaque. Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was. You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it. Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie. I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is? It has a name, and that is the... See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its... As Egypt declined, and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in... When they found even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto. I am glad to hear it, which brings me to... It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing... It would imply the gods of Egypt are mere... And that my people did to them what... I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine... You must think me of... This work of sacrilege must... You are too late. It is done. You would plunge into the depths of the... If it will help... I sin when the... On my... I do not know. All... Is everyone so confident? This is where I belong, as caretaker. I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me. For I try to live as I do to the doer to make. As for the punishment that good way, you would plunge into the depths of wish. When I told you that you would not find a way, that you will. I disagree. You very what? That may be true of many. Does that? Now that I think about it, my people, but many of my, we prepare, and yet I arrive here to find the Book of the Dead. Did our priests steal and embellish the stories of an old? I am not sure I follow. Speak plainly. Now you insult me and you have seen. Good. I welcome it. I can.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
When I told you that you will, what? That may be true, does? But men, we prepared and yet did. I am not. Perhaps there is some truth. You are very. I will. I will remain here for a while and attempt. You again. What is it? Of course, as the Roman.
Ah, you've returned. Good to see you again, friend. I enjoy...
Salve. Hello there, friend. May I say, that is a glory... Are you well, stranger? Sent? Yeah? Certainly. Nothing illegal about it? Well, that's a shame. Very well.
Salve.
A new face. I'm quite sure but would you? What they go until they be and says and they can you so mean so but I. A cynic philosopher might take that view, but it's not. See you again.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Citizen,
I thought I told you to get out of my villa.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Citizen.
Be careful who you trust.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You are unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will. It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago. That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting. Of course. That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing. I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not? Enough. You clearly know nothing. Very well. Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here? If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpina has slumbered for 3,000 years. Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek? Ha 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 ha. Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule? How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that. That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it? Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them. Ah, but I am a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights? Of course not, because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals. Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine. Because that is the source of our power over you. You could say that. My kin have no superiors. That is true. Go on. Make your point, mortal. Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no, the very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster? Wait, what? What are you saying? You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that? A mistake, but he is the best and greatest of us. Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, Neither she nor your kind may ever ascend. Because doing so would violate the rules of my sacred agreement with Jupiter. The best I can do is return you to... I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place. And what will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of... Now, are you ready? Farewell, Mo.
Oh. Hi there. Well? Oh, I'm fortunate. Apparently, then an oracle appeared and told him saving the life of it, preventing the suicide of it, freeing a foiling, and so on. And the doors, nobody knows, because the next thing he knew, unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving what became, and did this mysterious... I don't know, it reads... Anyway. I'm going to pause here for a moment. You go on it.
You're back! But... why do...
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can just... I do not... That most people... You can just call... I do not... That my... Most souls would ask you... As you wish. You were on a mission to recover. You see, a past. There was. He died. That man's. You were each in. Perhaps. Well, along my. That I only. There is. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. And there was a...
You two look...
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go?
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I hope you're adjusting to life as a civilian. I hear it takes a long time. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet. And I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really... Why don't you head on down there?
You're finally here. Remember me? It's It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only... Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and... I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're planning to get married next spring. Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. Of course, there's a whole
Oh, hello. Hello, I'm Dooley. Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I live at... Bye-bye.
It's you.
There he is.
You're here. It's so wonderful to see you again. So, I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a... We're just so... Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. See you at the...
Hey. Evening. Hi there, I'm Horatius. I understand we have you to... Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind... Thanks. Ah, you remembered that. Thanks. He's not my... Oh, he had more trouble adapting them. He got himself disqualified from the UFC. So he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. But his luck finally ran out. And you.
Hello.
And here you are. It's wonderful to see you again. Oh, and by the way, I go by Philip now. A fine Greek name. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And it seems I have your Catabasis to thank for it. Aha! You remember that? I have to admit, I've been profoundly impressed by the advances humans have made these past... The sum total of human knowledge available at our fingertips, miraculous modern medicines, and a series of prosperous democracies. Your contemporaries have come further toward utopia than I ever thought possible, though there's still a way to go. My sincere...
Good evening. Greetings. Thank you for... Ah, you remember that. Men have...
Hello there.
And you.
Some soiree, innit?
What is up?
Evening. Hello there. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. After you drove Blue... Thanks.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of you, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you, I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected. I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I, after witnessed, so I tried, so I whispered to Sin. I knew that I required what I did. He quickly of course, once we were all fortunate. Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. And you. Although it... Oh, and one last... Good. Because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.